Here's an example of a really unique type of item that is a one of a kind, and also that you have to do your research to find out what you really have in your hands. When I first got this, I didn't understand really what it was. I mean, I understood in the sense of it's a book, it's a hardcover book, but when you open it up, this is what you see. And then as you flip through it, you see even more of that similar stuff, all these booklets. So I wasn't quite sure. So I looked up, as it says here, 61 Dodger family, 1961 Dodger family, and started to see what this really was. And these were actually booklets that were produced individually back, obviously, in the early 60s that talk about the Dodgers and the individual players, as well as other topics. As you can see, individual players. This one's the Vin Scully, the famous Dodger announcer, and Jerry Doggett. But most of them are about individual players. Sandy Koufax, of course, the legend, and many others. Of course, I'm not sure. There's one, Stan Williams. So many different players. So when I first got it, I wasn't sure. I flipped through it. Then I took a look on eBay. So I just typed in 1961 Dodger family, and there are 61 results, as you can see here. And it's a variety. So this one has, 3 different ones for 75 bucks. And as you go down, you see that there's another one that has 13 for 75. And then there's ones that have, what is this one? 15 of them. And you keep going. And so you can see that some of them go individually, but not for much. And it kind of varies, right? And most of them are being sold individually. Now, when you go over to what has sold, here's mine up top. You can see that this one had this one had some photos as well. But as you go down, this one had 12 in the lot for 75 bucks. This is just one Sandy Koufax, which you know by seeing that is valuable, which I have. And this is another Sandy Koufax, which is 50 bucks. Only that one. And then this one was, oh, it says there's 38 of them. Wow. And that one for 125 bucks. So I remember seeing that one, because what it turns out is that mine, or the little booklet that I have, or a hardcover, has many copies. Here's one that had 14. It sold for, took an offer of less than 50. This one, $119. I guess because it's graded for Sandy Koufax. So the other ones aren't worth as much. But as you can see, the one that I sold went for $149. It has 24 booklets. Here it is, the listing, 24 booklets, including Koufax. I also put Drysdale, Scully, Sherry, Union Oil, because that was the company behind it that put it together. Of course, I put 1961, I put Dodger family in there, and I put book as well. So trying to get keywords in there that people might be looking up when they're searching for these. So of course they're going to put in 1961 Dodger family, but then they might put in Koufax, they might put in Scully, they might put in Drysdale. They also might put in 76 Union Oil, and that could help this pop up. So as you can see right here, whoops, there. This was listed on October 1st, right up at the top is when I listed it. And then it sold on the 27th of October. So it took almost a month, a little less than a month for it to sell. And this is something that I got, believe it or not, as a donation in September. September 22nd is when I got this, with a bunch of other stuff. And the guy that donated it was the guy that had put this together. And he apparently put this together many years ago, and there's not any other one like it. Turns out he put, he had it, what do you call it, bound. So that would be specific for him. So there's no other copy like it. It doesn't have all of them, obviously, because as we saw, there was somebody that sold 38 of these for $119. But there's that one that's taped, but the rest of them are in really great shape. He had it professionally bound. It's really cool. And this is the kind of item that I will never see again, of course, from this individual, but probably from anybody. Is there anyone else out there, Dodger fan, that has kept all these 1961 booklets, Dodger booklets, and not only kept them, but kept them in good condition and then bound them together? I doubt it. So this is really when it's important to do your research, learn, learn about what you have and compare it to what's out there. Because I saw that these particular booklets were selling. They weren't selling super often, because as you saw, there were 61 currently for sale and only 14 have sold in the last 90 days, which is not that many. However, I made my offer compelling because it's bound, they're in great condition, except for that one that's taped. They're in great condition, and that there's a large quantity. There's 24 of them. And I listed it where I felt it made sense. It's $150. It sat for almost a month, but the right person came around and bought it. So it's just super important to do that research. It will help you sell things quicker and for the money that someone's willing to pay for, because it could, I could have undersold. I could have been like, oh, $100. Might have went quicker, but waiting a little longer, I got a good amount of money for it. And it's kind of amazing to me that somebody donated this, considering they had it made so long ago, specifically for themselves. But it happens all the time. People decide to free up space. If I remember correctly, it was either that he was just cleaning out to make space in his house, or he was buying a smaller house, had less space. And it's not like this takes up even that much space, but maybe it was more mental real estate than anything else, because something he had. I'm guessing on all of this. But regardless, the reason I got it was because I have my store, and people walk in and they donate stuff to me, and then they buy other items, or they just donate and walk off, or they ask for a trade, or they ask if I'm open to buying something, and I always take a look at it, and you just never know what you're going to find. So always keep your eyes peeled. This is something that he very well could have donated to a local thrift store. They wouldn't have had any idea what to price it at. Maybe they would have seen it was super old, so they would have priced it a little higher. Who knows? Or they just would have priced it for a couple bucks. But imagine coming across this type of item in a thrift store, or even at someone's garage sale, and paying a couple bucks for it once you've done some research. So now I know about these 1961 Dodger family booklets, so that if I ever do come across more of them, obviously more is better. If it's only a couple, depends on what they are. That Koufax one goes for good money. That's probably the most valuable one in there, or in here. But all the rest of them together, for someone that loves the Dodgers and grew up watching them back in this era, or even is learning about them back in that era, could also be a Vin Scully fan as well. But yeah, you just never know. You never know, until you do the research about exactly what you have in your hands. And there's just so much to learn that I'm always going to be learning new things. But this is kind of put back into my memory bank, so that the next time, if I ever do come across these booklets, I will have a much better idea. And I'll look for that Koufax one and other well-known names, because I recognize Drysdale, of course, Vin Scully. A lot of the other players I'm not personally familiar with, but if you're a big baseball fan, number one, and number two, a huge Dodgers fan, you'll probably recognize some of these people's names. What's this guy? Yeah, I don't know. But I think this would be really fun for somebody who is a huge Dodgers fan, especially watch them growing up and maybe wanted to get a hold of these, because it has all the information in here you would want. I mean, somebody spent a lot of time writing all this. And there's not just stats, there's just lots and lots of information about these players individually. But that's what I do first, is I check on my phone, usually not on my computer, but sometimes on my computer I check to see how many of that particular item is for sale. And 61 is not that many. But then I kind of take a look and see, well, obviously there's specific ones that are going for more money, or at least they're listed for more money than others, but there's a bunch that are not going for very much, that are under $15, some of them even under $10, as you can see. But then when you get 10 or more of them together, or even 15 or more, or 20 or more, 30 or more, the price for them starts to go up. So I want to sell what I list, and I want to make sure that that stuff is selling. So I look and see and take a look to see how I can make my offer compelling and the kind of keywords that I can use. So obviously 1961 Dodger family was important, but all these other ones are important because they're some of the more valuable names. And so someone is probably going to see that and want to click on my offering. And since I listed this item, and since it sold, I had 29 views in about the same amount of days. I think it was like 27 days. So it's not a ton of views, but it's enough, right? And anyway, so if you're looking to, if you're coming across different types of bizarre items, just look them up, do the research, and on your phone even, and you can do it pretty quick and get an idea if something is worth reselling. All right, guys, hope you learned something. See you in the next video. Take care.